So how's everyone's day going so far? It's Saturday, so I hope you're having a good weekend. You're gonna have a good 4th. But anyways, this was requested. This is called The Vikings. It is a historian action adventure. Believe it or not, it was released in 1958. Yeah. So, it was directed by Richard, excuse me for last name, Fleischer. He directed the 21,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Conan Destroyer, and Red Sonja. Here's the cast. Alright, welcome back. So here's the plot of this. Einar and Eric are two Viking half-brothers. The former is a great warrior, Welsh, the other is an ex-slave. But neither knows the truth identity of the other. When the throne of Northumbria in Britain becomes free for the taking, the two brothers compete against one another for the prize, but they have very different motives. Now, a little celeb history and info on this movie. Kirk Douglas is Michael Douglas's late father. He died in 2020, it looks like on Google. Kirk, not Michael Douglas, obviously. And actor and actress Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh are Jamie Lee Curtis's parents. Now, I didn't know that, and it was actually a big surprise, and actually pretty much a bonus for me and you, if you didn't know that. Now, I don't recognize anyone, including those people, anyone but one person I do recognize. A little mix up there is, and excuse me for his last name. Ernest Borgnine, who plays Ragnar, was the taxi driver in Escape from New York. He was also in the movie Red, a little cameo in there. But the first time I saw him was in my preteens when I watched the DVD set of the OG McHale's Navy. Now in the 90s, I do love the remake movie. I know a lot of people didn't like that, but whatever. So as this is a 1958 film, we get disoriented audio and soundtrack, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And this is one of many things I was expecting going to this, as I recall seeing TV shows and movies from the 50s to the 80s. Lots of trumpets and orchestra throughout this, and honestly fit pretty well. Now the camera quality was definitely old and honestly reminded me of the old 80s, as funny as that is. It still was a very, very beautiful movie with all lots of physical sets. Not going to lie, I missed that a lot next to the animatronics that were used, like they did in Aliens in the 80s and stuff. So everything now is CGI. Doesn't look as good as in the 80s and before. I'm sure people agree, some people disagree. But it is to each their own, but personally I like that. But the sets looked so great, of course. They were mostly realistic. They were shot in real places. Now, I don't know, I find it hard to believe that they had green screen technology back then, but you never know. But the sky kind of looked like something like that, so in some spots. But I think most of the part, especially the night scene, was all 100% real. It was really good. They definitely, obviously added some high power Hollywood wind fans, the huge ones, in a spot, and then they also did some smoke screens in there. So obviously about 99% I would say is real, authentic, real, when it comes to actual physical stuff. This is in color, but it's in the old color. So, which is, again, not a problem because I grew up with that type of stuff. Now, the costume designs was very nice. But the makeup and hair prosthetic wasn't so much when it came to the English king. You could tell it was prosthetic. I honestly was thinking in the beginning of the film that his facial hair was fake. Now, I'm kind of now debating if it was real or not, but it looked kind of like your 99-cent dollar horns. Now, everyone else was obviously good looking, so I don't know if it was real or not. So the acting was good for the most part, but of course some spots was being overdone, which is not really surprising. I've seen a lot of Viking themed movies and shows, but there's a lot of new stuff in here. I really love the way they went about this. I do wonder if this was part of the novel. I know they scripted it from. Now, I didn't care for the design of the little English ships. They look like more like pirates, but I don't really know the full history of that part of that history, so maybe I'm misunderstanding something. But I do love the old style Viking ships. The swords was a little too bland looking for my taste. Some swords were okay looking, but yeah. But the shields look nice, but I've seen way more colorful and detailed designs in history pictures and movies and TV shows and stuff. So, but mainly on pictures on the internet, there's definitely some way better, more detailed stuff. I personally don't care for too much about the historical accuracy like a lot of people do. But I did notice there was good parts in there and stuff that was inaccurate. Again, don't care that much about it. I'm very nitpicky, especially because this is a 1958 film. So it's the kind of how the whole horn thing, that goes back from there and all the way back to whenever Hollywood started. So early 1900s or late 1800s, I don't know. Was a very enjoyable story. I was very much had fun time watching this. I have seen a movie. I haven't seen this movie this old since I was a kid, so it brought back nostalgia of my childhood with grandparents and my mother's and dad's. Now, I want to be clarified that I have seen TV shows, because usually on TV on Tuesdays we watch MeTV, which is a Seattle program or a Northwest program, as far as I could tell, and it shows 70s and 60s and TV shows, the classics and stuff that were black and white and then went to color, like the Rifleman and Wagon Train and stuff. So technically, I have seen stuff since then, but not movies. Especially, like, I think the last time I saw one of my favorite old-time movies was The Sound of Music. I have fond memories of that. And that, I think last time I saw that was in the very, very early 2000s, sadly. The other one is Oz, the original Oz. But anyways, here is my rating. Alright, so if you have not seen this, I suggest you give it a look at, as just because a movie is newly made in these times doesn't always mean it's better. In my opinion, it looks more crisp, looks more good, but when it comes to the set designs, there it's 50-50, and when it comes to especially and like I said, everything's done in CGI, all monsters, aliens, and all that stuff. Yeah, before the 50s and even some in the 60s and 70s and even before, the costume designs were pretty hokey looking, but there was definitely in the 80s and arguably some of the 90s, not 90s, but late 70s were really done well. Technology just came up with that stuff. But I feel like we have strayed away from a little too much into the CGI. Everything is completely overblown CGI for the most part. And I wish we would go back some to 90s and 80s and late 70s. So, but yeah. So I love you all. Please hit the like button and see you hopefully Monday. If not, then Wednesday. And if not Wednesday, if something for some reason comes up, then Thursday. But I'm going to try to do my best to do Monday. So hit the bell icon and Skol.